bit. Yeah, it's still a little bit warm, but just a little bit, so that would be fine. So I just have to cut. And you know, I said about this collapsible ring that it only goes from above 7 inches. So I'm going to use this cutter, so just to see how we can set this one around the cake. So just going to, in fact, let me just flip it upside down. Get this out of the way. And just going to slice through. Go one layer.
How many grams of cake per person did you say we
100 grams.
Not including buttercream?
Including buttercream. So the undecorated cake should be like 100 grams per person. Okay. Now I'm going to just trim this edge because it just feels a little bit browny and it's lower than mine. Okay. I'm just going to cut this bit as well. Okay. The baking time was 20 minutes, so works super quick to bake. And yeah, the ingredients: 350 flour, 350 sugar. You will get link for the recipe. But I've increased the amount of eggs to 400 and decreased the amount of sugar to 300, so it shouldn't be that sweet. So if you want to pick a piece and try it, that's fine. But I can also just
use self-raising flour or plain flour with raisins?
no, I'm just using cake flour. I mean a flour which has a protein level about, I think it's 9.5. As long as it doesn't have more than 10 grams protein, it will be fine. I wouldn't recommend any kind of flour which has over 10, because that intends to be more like all purpose, and it might
less than 9 grams of protein.
No, it will be difficult to get with less than, unless you make your own and put cornstarch. It should be about 9 to 10. Okay, but say for example, even those little pieces can be used, because once you tuck them in, they actually look like a slice. So.
Do you just use the all-in-one method, or what way do you make your Victoria sponge?
You will get the link and you can watch. No, I normally just aerate the butter, then put my sugar, and then I put the eggs. No, it's not.
Cake's lovely.
Okay, good. So then if you want to try it again, then you know what to look for. But this time I'm going to set it right on the board. Okay, just going to set this to 0. And grams. Okay, and it's 127 grams for the board, but that will be fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do, put some buttercream in here. Not very much. If it's too much, it will, the cake will, you finish it, it's cold, but you might want to transport it, and the car gets warm, the butter underneath will melt, and the cake might start moving around. And I'm just going to use this bit, because I've put it out of so many pieces. It's going to get this and transfer it into here. And before I take this away, I'm just going to put, what do you want on it? Do you want chocolate or some confit?
The confit, please.
Yep. Okay. So just going to put, so you were 127, you're 113. I've got 350. 50, 150, 170 grams or 170 grams per layer. So it's heavier than the chiffon. I'm just going to put this in here. If you don't want your sponge to get stained by the jam, because obviously the jam is colored, yeah, I'll just put it by a scale next time. I've got to actually look how much I've put. Then you should put the buttercream first and then the jam. I'll show you in the next layer. All I want now is just to kind of catch all the little bits in here before detaching the ring. Okay, so I'm going to scale now to 0 and then just put this on the top, and that's 275. Oh, I think the other one was 27. Yeah, my math. My brain is not ready for doing any maths this morning. So 270 grams, so even heavier. Yes, the other one was 100 grams when we did the chiffon, and it was pretty much the same size, but this is 270, so it's a heavier cake. Then, as I said, if you don't want the sponge to be stained with your confit, you should put the butter first. I normally don't take the skin away because it gives a really nice flavor, but if you want more like a nice finishing, then you should peel that off, because that's just a crust made out of some caramelized sugar. The only thing is, if you leave the skin in and you build a tall cake, sometimes this skin can come off and you might get some problems with your cake siding. So if you want to make sure that that doesn't happen, you should just trim this away. Now, you've noticed I did not level because the layers turn up leveled, but if you want to be super precise, then you should do. And with the skin, literally all you have to do is just remove it. But it tastes really nice, and if you don't mind about getting that brownie bit, and if your cake is not going to be super tall, then you can just leave it there. And I'm going to go here. So I put about 25 grams of buttercream already. Yeah. But if I want to put again about 25 grams of jam, what I can do is to pipe a dam around the edge, so that bag. So practically you just put that, and you seal the jam, the chocolate, whatever you use. And then if you want to put some more, you can. So 400, about 100 grams of buttercream. So I'm going to put the next layer up. Again, very heavy, again, probably about 270 grams. Just going to do the same thing. So, but this type of cake, it gets chilled and it can be maneuvered. So in the sense that, say, if you want to take this home with you, it would be still edible even towards the end of the week, even if you don't keep it in the fridge. It just firms up and then you can just do whatever. While the other one cannot go in there because it's got the double cream, which is quite fresh, and the mousse. This will be just fine. I'm going to put this upside down. Okay, and obviously it starts getting a little bit wobbly because it's heavy and is having that buttercream in between. So overall, we think about a layer of sponge, maybe 20 to 25 grams of confit, and about 100 grams of buttercream. So not too much of a buttercream because it gets too sickly sweet. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of tidy up. Now the acetate paper doesn't go up to the top, but it's almost okay, so I'm not going to worry that much. But if I will have a big gap, and I would like, if I really want to make sure that everything turns up nicely, all I have to do is just to get another strip and just place it a little bit higher, and then just put my ring to secure. Now, sometimes the ring doesn't want to listen, doesn't want to stay in the right place. So you will have to find a way to get those attached together. I'm just going to get some tape. Or you can have an elastic band, as long as it doesn't smell as rubber, and you'll be fine. Just have to kind of be careful. Or okay, just trying to put this. Oops. Of course, when you want this to stick, it doesn't. That can be just taken away once the cake is. Okay, I just want to get this to the right level so that I can also finish the top. So when I take the cake out from the freezer, it's actually just ready to be coated on the outer edge and done. Now I only keep desserts in my fridges and freezers, so there is no odor. But you always have to remember that any kind of fat will absorb the odor very quick. So if you've got anything which um, you know, smells in the fridge, it's got a strong kind of odor, then you have to make sure that you seal the cake somehow. As I said, in my case, there is no problem. But, okay, and this will go in the freezer for probably like an hour. Should be okay, just to firm up the butter and just give me a sturdy base so that I can coat with my buttercream. Okay, so I'm going to take the cake and transfer it onto a board and then coat with buttercream. Before doing anything, I just want to make sure that I check the weight, so that just going to transfer the cake in here. Right in the center of the board, and then just want to detach the frame. Don't really want to press too much on the top because the buttercream, it will start softening. Just going to try and undo it. Gradually. It's probably a little bit stuck. Okay, just a little bit more in here. Okay, good. I don't want to press too hard on the top because it might crack or might deteriorate the nice finishing. Okay, I'm just going to set this right in the center and then peel off the cling film. Okay, so again, just putting that on the board, on the scale. So I've got 1973 kilograms, so 25 grams less 2 kilos. So I just want to make sure that I know exactly how much buttercream goes in here. So I'm going to start by applying a big blob of buttercream. Now what I have to do is to kind of do it fairly quick so that the cake doesn't start producing condensation. And I also don't want to see any traces of of the berry color, so I have to put a thick layer and keep the palette knife in contact with the buttercream rather than with the cake. So just applying a thick coat, spreading from the base to the top. Again, with my palette flat. That avoids actually the crumb coating if it's done properly. So hopefully I'm not going to get any berry color showing through, because by the time I cover with a thick layer, part of that butter, which is going to be in straight contact with the cake, it will firm up. The cake is cold, so it will firm up the buttercream. And when I will start smoothing to make nice, that layer of buttercream will stick to the cake, and will have no problems with the crumbs or the color. Okay, good. So I think it's all good now. Just looking to see if I've got any areas missed in here. Just a few spots of confit. Okay, and I'm going to use the scraper with the scraper 45 degrees on the board. So keep going around to remove the excess. I have to just position the board in the center of the turning table. Okay, now I'm going to look at the cake and see where I've got a few gaps. So obviously where I've got the gaps, it means that I'm missing a little bit of buttercream. So I'll just put a little bit more buttercream in there. In here as well. Trying to bring that buttercream right on the edge, on the top edge. Same in here. And again, just scraping to tidy up. I need to make sure that if I put my scraper on the board perpendicular, there is no light coming through as I'm looking to the back. So if I will do that, that means the cake is straight. If it sits on the board and I've got a bit of a gap on the top, it means that I've got too much on the base. That's how I can judge if the cake is straight. Okay, and just looking, just a little gap in here. Now the buttercream I'm using is has been quite aerated, so it does have few air bubbles. So when you don't want to have those air bubbles, you usually have to work your buttercream a little bit, so that when you smoothing the buttercream before applying it onto the cake. That can be done on a surface, but also by just going repeatedly over the surface with a scraper. It can also help to sort out the surface. Okay, and now I'm going to cover the top. The top of the cake is quite neat, as we had that cling film on the top, so it's quite nicely leveled. I just have to do the edging and maybe just do a few touch-ups here and there. keeping the palette knife flat on the surface. Okay, and going around again. And again, just cleaning the edge. Okay, that looks quite good. So I'm just going to get a cloth. To wipe the board and scale to see how much buttercream we've used. Oh, again, I've popped my finger by mistake, so have to touch up in here. And let's put some on the top as well, as I've noticed a little gap here. I can see a little bit of cake on here. Good, that's good. And again, just shaving off. We will be decorating a cake, putting some drips of chocolate, but more like regular drips, which we can control. We need a piping bag for that and some chocolate ganache. Then we need our cake. Just get a turning table so that I can move it around with ease. The cake is chilled. And I'm going to cut a little hole. If I take the temperature, that's 29.5, so 30 degrees. Just going to cut a small hole and then just go on the side and see how quick the ganache runs. So if I'm not happy with the amount, I can cut a little bit more and then just go on the side and start applying the drips, and obviously control how much I want to squeeze, if I want to squeeze more or less, if I want to make the drips longer or shorter. I'm just trying to control that pressure as I go along. Okay, obviously if I squeeze too much, the drips will reach the board. And once that's done, I can pour the rest of the ganache, or as much ganache as I want, in here, and then just use a spatula to level, and just bring that ganache to the edge. Okay, and if I want to complete the design, I can get some chocolate curls. I'm going to use white curls to top up. I can obviously add a tag with a message. I can put some fruits if I want to, or I can put some chocolate bubbles. Okay, just getting some of my chocolate bubbles. And then some strawberries. And blueberries. And this is my cake.